How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to review this beast, the Azov 73210. There's quite a few things to cover. It's pretty good as a crane vehicle as well, so I've got a bit of footage of that. And yeah, that's basically why it's a bit longer than usual, but that's enough about the story of my life. We'll get on with the review. So as for the engine, it's basically, obviously the top engine makes it go to S plus on the power, which is a very nice sign. I believe it's the same engine that's in the Dan. I'm sure that KGZT thing rings a bell. Advanced special gearbox, so that's your options. As for tyres, there's not too many. A couple of off-road, the mud tyres and the chain. The chained are basically just the muds with the chains on them, so yeah, that's what I'm going for. The winch, I'm going for obviously the top one. Had to raid a few other trucks for it, but we got there. The spare wheels, like this big setup on the back, a bit like there is on the Derry something or other, not the 4520, the other one. Yeah, I don't really bother with them, to be honest, but obviously you can if you want. It's up to you, but yeah, usually for these reviews I just leave all the bits and bobs off it. Yeah, as a crane vehicle it's very good, which I'll show you pretty soon, because it's like the size it is. And that maintenance tray, as you can see, it's called a large maintenance frame add-on, and it's got a bigger, it's the same size as the actual maintenance trailers, whereas the ones that go on a lot of vehicles are a bit smaller. Loading crane and stuff, you can have like a loading crane and the sideboard or the flatbed, and you can tow a trailer along with it, which I'll show you pretty soon as well. Yeah, obviously you can have like the crane and the saddle. I'm just going to go for that at the minute. There's definitely, like, it's got a pretty long truck bed length sort of thing, so you can fit all sorts on there, and like I say, you can get the Holy Trinity, all three. As for the stock thing, seems to end just underneath the roof. This one comes out the roof, it keeps like a little yellow square that's like the stock bit, but other than that, yeah, I've just gone for this short round cap one. It looks like it might have the edge, but I think they're both about the same. It's basically going to be a submarine truck, hopefully, if it's sticking up there. As for exhaust, it's not nuts for smoke, but the stock exhaust does kick it out to the side a bit. I do prefer that one that's like aiming at you sort of thing, but yeah, it is a little bit smoky for that. Going through all the different attachments, got like horns and aircon. I removed the beacons. I like the beacons, they don't bother me, but just in case, so they're not flashing for the next 50 odd minutes, then yeah, I'll leave them off. That I was wondering what they were, like the side thing threshold. It's like metal bars underneath the nose of the truck, which is the last thing you want, so definitely don't equip that. I do like that you can remove the fenders on them, which is pretty good. I like it when it's like that. It's all just the exposed wheels and stuff. Just so even if you tip in sideways and it's all going a bit mad, like you might use the top of your tyres to grip something. You never know. I certainly don't really need fenders, I don't think, anyway. I've gone for those fog lights. The other ones looked cleaner, but when you attach them you have to have the beacons on it, so yeah, I've just gone for those ones. As for front bumpers, you don't have to have any bumper other than the big fat massive Bruce Forsyth chin on it. The first bumper doesn't really add anything. That one does. It makes it, obviously it's just stuck on front of it. That one's got bars going underneath. Personally, I don't want to risk it. It's just going to make a not great situation worse. I've gone for that one. It's got 4 fog lights, and now they're actually showing up in that. Not that I don't really ever look at them, if you know what I mean, but yeah, just the fog lights do actually sort of light up. So there's only 2 sets of rims. And then as for the colours, I was umming and ahhing. It looks pretty good in black, grey and white, but that's basically as you get it, with the yellow stripes. It's basically white, but it's got the yellow roof and that. It's green with a white roof. Doesn't look too bad. It's not a bad green, not a bad blue, but I'd probably slightly pick brighter versions of both. I like that one the most. That's the one I've gone for. I think it suits it pretty well. It's funny how that one, it's like there it looks about 10-15 years old. That one, it looks about 25-30 years old. It's just the like faded wrong colour green, really. Yeah, so we'll have a look at it. I'll change it to day so we can actually see what we're looking at. I think it looks pretty cool, to be honest. I do like it. Like, it's pretty good seeing a big 10-wheeler thing. It looks like it slightly sits nose down, which doesn't surprise me because it's got less wheels and suspension at that end. The nose is clearly going to be one of its main features, shall we say. It surprised me. It's not as bad as you think, though. I have to say, it did surprise me a bit. Inside, it's pretty modern looking. There is a mirror over there. You can see it. It's not too bad, but yeah, like for me. Yeah, nice, like super-sized bed. A super wank on your way. A little window at the back, in case you want to go dogging or something. Can't really see my wheels out of that mirror, but stick my head out the window. Not only I can see my wheels, but it's actually I can see like the first bit of that garage door behind me, so I can't really complain. That's not too bad. Oh, wrong tone for a big truck, but at least it's got some oomph to it. It'll do. Well, it says mud on the dash. I thought it said mum. I was like, what the hell? Is it trying to phone me mum or something? Yeah, revving wise, it's pretty slow to climb. I think it gets just above 2,000. It shrinks the screen at the minute, but yeah, it takes a little while to get up there. That's what she said. Yeah, we'll set off. This is where I'm going to show you a few extra things. This is one of the reasons why it's a bit longer than usual. Like, obviously, as you can see, the maintenance trailer is pretty massive. And this one has 2,000 litres of fuel, whereas the normal ones that I'll show you in a sec have 1,400 though. And then repair points wise, it's got 350 and 6 tyres, whereas this one, as you can see, is much shorter. That's got, I believe, 1,400 litres, so it's 600 less. And the repair points on it, it's got 305 wheels, so it's basically got 50 less and 1 wheel less. So not much, but it might make the difference somewhere. That's basically, that maintenance trailer is like the same thing. It's got 2,000 fuel and 350 points and stuff. This is where, as I say, I'll show you a bit later, but yeah, it's got like the crane, the flatbed or sideboard, and tow and a trailer. This is where, though, it's very good for this, is as a crane vehicle, I'm picking this thing up and jiggling it around, I'm hanging it as far over to the side as I can, and the truck is just sitting there solid, like it's not worrying about it or anything. This is a pretty heavy trailer to be trying to jiggle around over the side. I've done similar or attempted with other trucks, I'll show you in a minute, that yeah, like the winch is lifting it up in the air, like crane, even when I release it, then you see like the crane arm pings back a tiny bit, but it doesn't shake my truck around or anything, whereas this, which is my crane truck, or just possibly has been up until now, yeah, it's obviously tipping the truck rather than the fuel trailer. And I did have another go at it. Every now and then it seems like hesitates to go, but I was doing it bit by bit, and then I got, I reckon, the fuel trailer off the floor, but as you can see, it's pretty precarious, and if I start, this is like perfect conditions on a flat tarmac yard sort of thing. Trying to do it, you know, half up the side of a hill and stuff is a different story. And again, I tried to tried it from the back, and yeah, I'm just doing a wheelie, so it's got me a few. This thing has even wheelied on me before, picking a loaf up, which is pretty bad really, whereas this picks the trailer straight up. I'm not even close to wheeling, I'm not juddering around or anything like that. It's got the strongest winch on it. I might do a video on that, but I'll just say I believe stronger winches make the crane winch stronger, basically. Yeah, like even pulling that trailer over, it wasn't trying to fight me or skid me round or anything, it just did it. Having a look at trailer, you can have all the trailers basically. And that one, it actually is like, sits exactly where it should be, pretty much like the Navistar was, so yeah, it's definitely got decent like rear ground clearance. So setting off, because it's the advanced special gearbox, obviously it does sit pretty nicely in like 5th out of 5th, as pretty much everything I think does in the advanced. But yeah, it's better than like the high range or the off-road, for like it doesn't keep trying to jump back to first gear all the time. And going down here, like I say, the main limitation of this thing is its massive chin. I was trying to think what to call it, and it was like off-road centipede, but I don't think it's off-roady enough. It's definitely got a Bruce Forsyth chin, so I don't know. Bruce the centipede, centre Bruce in an emergency. Oh, I don't know actually. No, I'll allow it in a non-emergency. Yeah, Bruce the centipede. That's what I'm calling him. His little legs. His little legs are pretty good at getting over things like independently. I do like that about it, that you should see in pretty soon. But once I dug the nose in and I actually got into the mud and I sort of levelled out, like it actually went through there better than I thought. You can see over here is like each individual wheel does pop up pretty nicely rather than just fully like holding you back. So yeah, I don't know, it's one of them where it's been slightly on the better side tonight than I was kind of expecting, which is nice. By the way, I was just like, see the ghost dog thing in front? A few people have mentioned it before, so I just thought I'd show it. Like, it's gone now. Yeah, getting haunted by a little ghost wolf or something, and then some weird noise just happened on my headset on. I mean, look at it, we're sneaking up on the trees at night. They don't even know I'm coming now. That one's on the list, don't even worry. This is downhill with the wind behind it. It's, I don't know, unless I just, again, I'm making allowances because it's a big 10-wheeler thing, but it doesn't feel as painfully slow as like the Tatran, even though it's got the same gearbox. Yeah, it knocked that tree over. Because it's not rapid, yeah, it could, like, it helps if you're going downhill a bit and stuff, but it can knock a tree over. Going through here, it's like, to be honest, that's the thing, you can see its chin is hitting on the mud rather than it struggling for like grip and stuff, really, or it wouldn't be if it was trying to push, if it wasn't trying to push its chin through the mud near the Predator. The one thing I do like, obviously, because it's a 10-wheeler, it has like a lot of grip points, so it does actually have quite a lot of pushing power to it. But yeah, at this point, this is what I'd obviously do in like just my own playthrough. So give it a little winch. As soon as that nose was out of the mud, I just got out there just fine. But obviously, this doesn't have raised suspension or anything, which, I'm not going to lie, would be nice, because if anything, it'd lift the nose up. Once the nose is past something, it's not that bad, because like I say, all the chassis is pretty nice and high up. The fuel tank, look at them, I wasn't even sure they were fuel tanks. I thought they were like, I don't know, a little storage compartment, but it's like, there is no way that is 350 litres, and the Dolphin is only 200. But anyway, going over rocks, like, because it's not that rapid, and it has got pretty good, like, pretty good feeling independent suspension or whatever, or it might be what someone said the other day, what did they call it, rocker arm suspension or something like that, I don't know, something like that. It might be like that, but either way, it gets over rocks pretty nicely. Like, I've seen worse sort of thing, and yeah, because it doesn't go that fast, it's smashing your suspension is just never going to be an issue, really. So going through Black River, again, going through that first bit, I just got, it was sort of catching the chin, but everything just is painfully slow through that first bit for some reason. So I just winched to a tree, pulled myself through that. Trying like all the low ranges and that. Obviously it's advanced special gearbox, so there is no other, well, you can get the special, but I believe everybody is in agreement the advanced special is just a better version of the special. It's just got like more option, I think. Yeah, it's got an extra auto gear and so on, but had its little moments of speed when I put it in high-low, but generally it got to places where it was like this slow. But I made it through and it didn't feel like it was ever going to get stuck. It just, yeah, was a bit slow at times. Snow, it seemed fine just there, and because I was going up a hill then, the nose wasn't an issue, and surprisingly I was like, oh, that's not bad actually. It just kind of walked straight over. There's a tiny glitch there, I apologise, but it did just, that's the thing with the nose, even though it sits very low, this thing has a pretty good ability to just push it up things, like rather than it catching, like the Club 747 thing. Apparently they might have fixed some of it, so we'll see when the update comes out, but yeah, that used to catch on everything and just stop you dead, and it was like annoying, whereas this, quite a lot, obviously this sort of thing, not a chance. Like, even if you were able to remove that chin, you'll see later when I roll the truck that it's just got like an extra big chin stuck on it that it sort of, you don't necessarily need. But yeah, once you actually get the nose past the barrier, like I went to just a bit more of a normal bit, it does actually climb over them. Not too bad. Obviously now it is hitting the barrier, but one good thing, if you ended up ever going wide and hitting a barrier, you'd probably clip the nose and not take any damage instead of hitting a wheel. But once the nose got over, again, climbed over pretty nice. It's got rear wheel steering, which I really like, and it does suit the truck and it helps, and it's a nice feature to have. It's actually a rear steer truck that's pretty surprisingly more usable than the Derry, which I wouldn't have called before I reviewed them or tested them. And yeah, I managed to get through them, gap in the trees and stuff, so went for the snow test. See there, like, it did dig its chin in on that one, but then it immediately starts pushing its way through the snow. I think I caught the tyre on that rock, I'm not sure actually, it might have been the chin. Even in auto though, goes pretty nicely through there. Like I say, because it's 10-wheeler, or a 10-wheeler, it's got yeah, there's just a lot of grip points pushing. Like, you think the back end, you've got a Tayga's worth of tyres, and then you've still got 2 axles at the front that are also steerable, and the rear is steerable, so yeah, it's like, and it's got S plus as far as power to weight and that, and that's power to weight, and this thing isn't light, so long story short, it has got a lot of power, which is good. That's always a nice thing. Right, see how it just wants to tip on its roof? There is weight in the chassis and there's some weight in the cab, but it's more like, imagine the actual roof, just the white painted roof, imagine that as a really dense slab of like weight in this game. The rest of the cab itself doesn't feel nuts because centre of balance wise it's pretty evenly spread, but once you tip the cab too far over, yeah, imagine like where the aircon is and that white roof just weighs way more, a bit like the arse end of the Azov John, where it was just like incredibly dense weight. So yeah, it doesn't want to tip easily because it is quite wide, but once you go like say 80 odd degrees, once that actual white painted roof is hanging over, it takes you with it. Got off there, it got over the rock, and because it had rear steer, I was able to, like, instead of having to do a 3-point turn, I was able to actually get out of there, which was pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie though, I didn't fancy Centre Bruce's chances of getting over this with his chin. Yeah, just as I expected. Stubs into the pipes. Because it has got a lot of muscle though, and it's got like a lot of points of contact, it managed to get obviously up there, but yeah, there's no way like I'm getting that chin over the wall. However, like someone said a while ago in the comments, like this is like a puzzle game, and they're right, like it's like a truck-based puzzle game. So I was like, yep, there's no way I'm being that wall's bitch. That wall is my bitch. See now, the reason it won't pull my back end over is because the chin's hitting the floor, not because it didn't have enough power. But I winched the front end to the tree. Because of the length of this truck, it's pretty handy for like sticking the winch on the opposite end and pulling on something near you. And yeah, it actually does work quite a lot. I've been getting out of all sorts of situations using like that. The balance point is about here. Like say at this point, that's where I was like, bloody hell, are they fuel tanks? I thought they were like a battery or something, not an entire fuel tank. Yeah, I am tilting to the back a little bit, but that's near enough the balance point. Which that's what I mean. It's like the cab, the whole cab doesn't necessarily feel like it's some dense weight because it's relatively balanced, but I don't know, it's once you tip in, like that actual top of the roof seems to be where the meat is. So yeah, obviously, yeah, I beat the wall. I showed it a thing or two. I believe this was later on, like when I was just playing around with it still, and trying to get over the wall again. Got to this point. Do you know, I can't remember if this was the first or the second attempt. You're joking. Right at the last second. Yeah, you can see like there's like a big like extra horseshoe shape just stuck on its chin, but if you could remove that, it'd help a lot. Remove that and have raised suspension, and it wouldn't be that much of a problem, or not as like definitely not that bad. However, like I say, throughout tonight, I thought it was going to be more of a problem than it ended up being. It makes up for it some way by having a hell of a lot of power. Trying to get through these trees, it's not a bad effort, to be honest. I got a burst tyre, but this thing's pretty wide as well, so yeah. Like, them trees ain't getting any wider just because the truck is. So, seen an old kite there stuck in the trees. Yeah, cargo turning test. At first, it's like, well, it sort of looks like the Azov levels, but then because of that rear steer as well, just goes at the end. I can't remember. Is it the P60? I don't know, but it made it in one turn anyway, so it's not quite. Maybe if I was already turned before I even set off, I probably could have done about an ANK White Western Star level of turning circle, but it wasn't far off, and it made it in one turn. And for the size of the truck, like it's oddly just enjoyable to drive it sort of tonight. I don't know if it's just because it's a big 10-wheeler thing and it's like pretty cool to see and have a little play around with instead of just your usual, more common setups. But yeah, I don't know. It's not as bad as I thought. I could definitely say that. Like, I reckon I might be keeping it as well, because as a crane vehicle it seemed pretty damn good. And I don't know, I suppose you'll see throughout the rest of the video. Getting through here, stops for a little bit there, but I'll just keep flooring it. What I have noticed with this is just as you let off the throttle, I mean like the split second you let off, it almost has a little jump of power, but a few times tonight it just kept feeling like just as I let go it's like, oh, then it just went. But it, rather than me just being unlucky, it's like I reckon it is like just as you let off and it dips that revs for the first 0.1 of a second, it just, a few things, it bumped itself over doing that. Like, just, I suppose, blip the throttle, let go and put it on again. And it managed to go down here in high, which I know it's the advanced special gearbox, not like the high range, so it's a slower high, but yeah, it still did it, which is nice, because once you're in high and you go in, it just motors along. I might open a trailer rental yard, and if anyone wants service spare parts, you let me know. Water test, doing like about as fast as it would go anyway. I'd say it's like, doesn't really care. That's where the yeah, good power to weight and everything comes in. I really wasn't paying attention, wasn't looking properly. That's the thing, because it is a little bit slow, but it's not this personally, it's just the advanced special gearbox. I start getting distracted, like looking around, looking at my phone or something. Did get through there though, which I definitely think it'd have no trouble wrenching a trailer through there as well. Got caught up a bit there. I remember the Dan did, but yeah, its nose is what hit the snow then. It, like, this thing isn't having any trouble ploughing through the snow, it's having trouble getting its bruised chin through everything. I hit a tree there, but it's one of them trollish trees that can sometimes stop anything dead, and then it just fell through the floor. So still not too bad round here though, because it's got the rear steer, so there's no issue with making the turn really, especially considering the size of the thing. And like I say, the rear steer is nice. I'll show you something in a minute why it's kind of nice as well. We'll have a quick look at the interior. I have to say already, you can tell like you sat high enough that the dashboard isn't really in your way. You can see, yeah, those back windows. It'd be nice if you had a back window, but I don't honestly know if it'd be all that much help. I can look out here and see my wheels, which, and I'm sure I'd be able to see like the edge of my trailer and that, so that'd yeah, do me fine. As for, like I say, the horizon doesn't really, like, you sit high enough that it's not a problem, which is nice because you can definitely see where you're going. It is a pretty wide truck, so it does feel like you're looking at the other end like, is that going to clip? But yeah, I could see those rocks the whole way. I knew exactly where to thread it, and yeah, I didn't catch anything, didn't damage anything, didn't slow down, etc. So it's not bad actually for interior view. Coming down here, to be honest, I thought it'll have no chance in hell. To its credit, because it's got still like 3 banks of wheels at the back pushing and so on, it did actually push its nose up and over, which was more than I was expecting. Even that long nose colob, I had to attach a winch to the telegraph pole to pull myself out of there, whereas this, like I say, it sort of doesn't bother me too much, because if I can just keep it pinned for a few seconds and then it pushes its way over something, like, I'll live with it kind of thing. Again, got through that mud, you know, hassle-free basically. See, nice steering. So, like, it was my fault yesterday when I went off with the Navistar, but, or was it the day before? But it was because the Navistar doesn't have good steering. I just, like, underestimated it and I went off the edge, whereas with this, yeah, it's definitely pretty nice steering. This is why it's nice to have rear steer, and this isn't an amazing example because the nose isn't sticking in the air, but imagine my nose was sticking in the air now. I still have a steering option from the back, so yeah, if I was peeking over a hill, I still am able to shimmy myself around a bit. Like, the TUZ Tatran is pretty notorious for, like, when you're going up some hills and that, the front end bobs up quite a lot and both your steering axles are just up in the air then, and it's like you just have to kind of accelerate your way straight up a hill. You can't always choose and turn sometimes when you're going over rocks and stuff, whereas yeah, unless this thing's like pivoting in the middle of the truck, but that's the same for everything, it's like if the back's dug in but not the front, yeah, you've still got steering options, which is nice. Like I say, it's just such a shame that they've just killed the Derry by putting a crap engine in it. Like, the Russian engines are decent in all the big stuff, but they need some type of big American engine because, yeah, there's definitely better that could go in the Derry. Whereas, yeah, this actually feels like usable rear steer and, yeah, doing surprisingly alright all night. Even going down here, it's obviously, more than anything, it's its nose that I'm clipping in the deep bits of snow every now and then. But it's never really catching itself and stopping. It's just not always allowing me to stay, like, wound up in 5th gear. Or it's staying in 5th, but not, you know, like, top of the rev range in 5th. Going around there as well, hit that tree stump. And not everything, but quite a lot of things can just go over that and let it go underneath the truck. However, once you do get the nose past, the rest of the truck wouldn't really care. But yeah, like I say, it's not the wheels or the suspension or anything, it's just that nose. But again, it did get through there, and it did have to punch its nose through quite a lot of snow then to do that. And I mean, considering the thing's got an advanced special anyway, so it's not rapid, I would have been pretty happy and fine if it made that effort every time and got over there that quick. So next up we've got the mud, and to be honest, I obviously really didn't have high hopes for this, and you'll see I end up creeping along the edge. I don't really end up going into the middle bit because, in all honesty, we know full well what's going to happen. As soon as it even gets close, that nose is going to, like, just the right side of the nose is digging in a bit there, and it already started to slow me down. Yeah, if I head to where that puddle is already there, I can guarantee the nose is just going to dig in and I'm going to sit there wheel spinning. So, as I've done that in a lot of videos, and yeah, I can guarantee you it's going to happen with this, because it's almost happening when I'm not even there. I just thought I'd try and get down the edge and see how it does. I was in low-low, and low-low's pretty nice in this in some situations, but it's not got enough meat to it when you're trying to shove, like, the nose through mud and that. But if the nose wasn't in there though, low-low's not bad. And basically, I crept out at the speed you've seen, going along the left edge, and it was fine. Like, and I reckon I would have been able to pull a trailer with me. It might have been a bit of a, you know, touch and go, but I've also got winch points in the trees. But yeah, I wouldn't never take that route if, like, I had this and I had to get a trailer across. Yeah, I reckon it'd do it. I cut out about a minute and a half there. I tried. That's one of the few places really tonight where, just by keeping it floored, it it wouldn't bump its nose up and over. But considering I wouldn't have put my money on this thing coming close to mountains and stuff like this. There's no point in going for a deep nose test because, yeah, a lot of the things, as you can see, is basically a nose test for it anyway. See, if you're cocking like them front wheels and that though, those rears are still on and they're steering, like there, when my nose was up in the air, I was still able to swing it around a bit. See here as well, but I admit, like, obviously, of course, I'd love the chin to be not as bad as this, but I was able to just keep it floored, and it did eventually push its way through. It's nice as well, because considering the length of the vehicle, the distance between, like, the second and third axle isn't that far, so as far as beaching it goes, it actually isn't that bad at all for beaching. It's pretty damn good, especially because it's got fairly decently sized tyres. I think they're 50-inch tyres. So, yeah, beach in the middle was never an issue. It's the nose, if anything. See, as soon as that, like, top bit of roof gets over the side, yeah, and there was no way it was getting back from this. Oh no. Oh yes. Still got its record. Yeah, went for a bit of a rescue, flipped it over. I've edited a few things out because obviously with the crane demonstrations and stuff, time's gone on a bit. Got round here though, no worry of it tipping now or anything. I didn't feel like it was going to go or anything. A few of them I have. The Royal probably would go at this point, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to cut ahead a little bit here, but basically I was there for about a minute or so, and what I would do now is like approach from an angle, but what I was doing there was I attached the winch to the back of the truck and to that tree. And yeah, again, it's very good at, like, because there's a nice bank of wheels at the back, rather than trying to pull your back end round, it just forces your whole truck, as it's like pointing in a straight line. Just, yeah, it does help quite a lot doing that. Actually got up there pretty decently once I got the nose of it up. Can't remember if I made it through this bit or not. It might have stopped. To be fair, it was a bit of a crap line from me. Like, I do normally go more to the left here, so it's still, obviously, it has got a big chin on it, so if it didn't have, it would be better. But yeah, look, no beaching issue. Like, the weight can't be crazy in the cab. Like I say, that's what makes me think, see how it's just like it's in the roof, and you'll see in a second now that sort of demonstrates it even better than that. It might be in the whole cab, I don't feel like it is, because I feel like overall the cab would be too heavy then at the front, and it balances better than that. I won't leave the whole lot, but basically it keeps slowly tipping now until it gets perfectly upside down, and then it just stops there, like the roof is the heaviest part, like, and it's just trying to return to the floor. So anyway, on our way to the quarry, didn't catch its nose too bad there, pulls nicely through all this mud. That was again one of them winch, I know, like, it does clip its nose on them, some trucks do drive over them, but I'm still going to give it the benefit of the doubt because they are a troll and I've hit them in all sorts that it just stops you dead, so yeah, I'm not really going to count them. But going through here though, better than I thought, to be honest. I thought it'd get nailed by now. That's why I've got a loaf behind me. I've always got a loaf behind me, but I knew I could get the loaf out and winch this thing through the mud if I needed. See, that, by the way, I know, like, I take a loaf with me. Yeah, it's no hassle. It's like, it's not slowing me down or anything. I'm going to do a loaf review maybe not tomorrow, because I might do a speed, what I've learned on the speed bug so far, because Jeff's going to do a video. And yeah, so but pretty soon I want to do a loaf review. I think I've finally, I know what she's about. So yeah, anyway, getting down the quarry, see, it hit its nose, but it powered through it. That wouldn't bother me. I can live with that just fine. if it stubbed its nose, like the Derry was worse than that, surprisingly, and I definitely wouldn't have called that. See there though, because I'm pointing on a downward angle, it definitely, its chin can be a bit like a snowplow, and it's it can find rocks that it'll then have to shove out the way rather than go over. However, it does make up for that somewhat because it's got a pretty damn meaty engine, and it does shove quite a lot of rocks out of the way. Or it can usually at least push it hard enough that it's going to bump up on it, and then it'll just, once it's up over the chin, it'll send it under the truck then, and it's not really an issue. See, I thought it was going to get stuck there, but that's 6 wheels at the rear that are just all digging in, and like I say, that's half the trucks in this game have only got 6 wheels total, so yeah, it's a nice bank of axles that are just pure pushing power really, which is pretty nice. Again, I don't know, I thought it'd catch its chin and not have a chance of getting up here. At this point, and this is again with the cab weight, I thought it'd do this, like, because it's still nice and weighty in the back, rather than putting its nose down then, it kind of jumped the gap. So it landed quite nice, at a nice angle for the second part of the hill, and it absolutely just walked up here, like, no issues. So again, that's what I mean, it's sort of been surprisingly nice all night, sort of thing. And I know I've got to forgive a few things, like its massive chin, but that's sort of what I've said before, like, I don't mind if I get something back in return for a negative, then it is what it is. I don't want every truck to be OP easy mode all the time, but I do want them to do something for the money, and this does. I was just having a quick go with the rev tech. I didn't learn too much from it, so I'll cut it out. However, with a handbrake on, it's fighting its own handbrake and it's still moving along. So whatever wheels weren't locked, I've definitely still got some pull to them. So next up is this hill test, and in all honesty, right now I was like, I don't know, it went up the first Quarry hills, but a lot of stuff has, so I suppose I was probably leaning on the side of it's going to get stuck about now. And this is in auto as well. It has got a pretty good gearbox if you're going to do this specific thing, but it's got it, so it's a bonus. Yeah, just walked up there basically, like one of the smoothest. I reckon I could have just rolled back down the hill and drove up and all sorts. It was getting on, it was like about 6 AM by the time I was doing this. I'm normally editing by 4, so that's probably why this video is a tad late as well. Yeah, put it in medium low, and it had just enough in it to pull like the bits of the trailer that catch on the hill and the rock. And yeah, I mean, that's one of the damn few things that's got up there without the help of a loaf. It's pretty rare. Felt a bit left out not having to bring the old loaf up here. To be honest, I did get up to other loaf shenanigans, but I've cut them out because 1, the video is pretty damn long, and 2, I'll do a review on the loaf pretty damn soon anyway, so we'll get plenty of loaf action. That's what I've been waiting for. Just had to wean you all onto it. Don't want everyone overdosing on loaf. Gotta up it slowly. See, jumping over there, the weight of the trailer, you know, like as it's gripping onto the 5th wheel, it was kind of holding the entire truck in the air then, which this truck has definitely got some weight to it, but it wasn't insane. And surprisingly, it didn't catch its, or if it did catch its nose, it just punched straight through it. Didn't lose the cargo or anything like that. There was a rock I was having to shove up the hill, so I did cut a bit out there, but after a couple of wiggles, not long, I only cut, I don't know, 20 seconds out or something, but I was half looking around with the camera and all sorts. It got up to that point, but obviously I was going to see if I could try and climb over the crane. I couldn't, the digger, sorry. But luckily that trailer I found the other day, stuck a winch on it, was able to pull my nose round, and with the rear steer that's still touching, yeah, between the pair of them I just managed to make it. And yeah, I did a couple of loaf. The loaf pulled this thing, like, honestly, it's a goddamn horse of a vehicle. I might put it in the loaf footage, but yeah, I don't know how the hell it managed to pull this and a semi-trailer through the bits it did. Going through here, again, I had a bad feeling about now that it'd hit its chin and stop, and because the current's pretty meaty on this river, if you get stuck it can start sending either your nose or your back end round, and you can get a bit, yeah, get a bit bent out of shape. But because it's got a lot of contact points with the ground, the river's having a pretty tough old time trying to push it round either way, or just push it down sideways. It's going a bit slow here, a bit wheel spinny. This is where, one of the few times, to be honest, I did winch a bit. I don't necessarily think I needed to. When I was trying out the different low gears, low was actually pretty nice for this. It was just that right balance where it was like, not wheel spinning, but again, because this has got a lot of power and sort of torque and everything to it, and 10 wheels that it's pushing from, yeah, it got out of there better than I thought in the end. And then going through here as well, I've tried the ANK through here before. This is obviously in Zimnogorsk, if you're heading from, say, the garage to where you go and get the TUZ. And it's pretty slow through here. The ANK, I believe, did make it through here, but bloody slow. But obviously this has got the advanced special anyway, so it's going to be slower to begin with. But despite its bruised chin, it did actually carry on at a nice speed. I was just thinking earlier, I can't believe I'm now living in a world where Bruce Forsyth isn't alive. Rest in peace, man. Pretty crazy stuff. Just because I'm stubborn and I wanted to, I thought I'd try and make my way to where you find the TUZ 420 Tatran thing. And yeah, surprisingly, like, because of the rear steer, I can manoeuvre my way around. I do catch something now. I'm not sure what it was, but I also just happened to let off at the exact moment that it pinged me back a bit, but I don't think it did as bad as it looked. Anyway, got here, there's the boxes that you find next to the TUZ. Going across here was nice as well. It's little things like this where you're just like, yes, thank you, because this is the White Valley like garage where you cut across to the airport. And it probably won't mean a lot to you when you're just doing your gameplay, but when you've done plenty of gameplay and you just start messing around, this airport is a bloody handy place to test all sorts of things. And being able to get across that snowy bit in 15 seconds, not 3 minutes. Like, to test one of the highway trucks on here, you have to, yeah, it takes ages. You can probably have 3 goes in the Tega. This is the thing, because it's slow, I get bored and I was just looking around. It's like, oh shit, let's get back on the road, I suppose. So I'm going to edit a bit out because it'll still be another month or 2 until we get there. But eventually, I knew it was going to catch its chin. But at least it didn't just stop dead, it did power through it reasonably. Well, not my first time if I'm honest. You see the second axle is actually leaning on that rock, so I did sit here for a while. I was looking in the cab, seeing if it, like, I left it for a good couple of minutes, it was having none of it. That is a loaf pushing a bloody dolphin with its engine off in the snow with mud tyres. What a goddamn horse. And then I stuck a winch on the Azov, see? The loaf's got mates. Mates at like seconds and it was over that snow. Just thinks its way out of problems. Look at it. It don't give a shit about rescuing the big stuff. It's up for it. It's like, oh, have I landed on the floor? I suppose I should get back on my hoofs then. So I'm a horse of a vehicle. Get out of the way, trailer. Got work to do. I mean, never mind this Azov thing. Get yourself a goddamn horse of a vehicle. That's what you need. I mean, look, I could strap one of these on the back of that, no problem. Who wouldn't want to strap on loaf? But, see, notice the cab weight. Just flicked it to the side. I admit, I did have a quick go at that angle, like a terrible angle. I dragged it forward rather than sideways, but got in here. Loaf doesn't quit until the job's done. That's why you get yourself a loaf. It's a professional. So hang on, got to sign off. Now it's loaf approved. Yeah, so swimming test time. So as for the snorkel, as you're looking at it now, back right corner of the cab, which is basically the best place for it, because if it was at the front of the cab, bit more like the Derry is, not to pick on it, but I just that one stuck in my mind. Yeah, so it can get about another, well, this is quite a long truck, but maybe another quarter of a truck length in before it's starting to drown. As far as reversing back out of the water, it's pretty damn meaty. Well, funnily enough, it's having no real trouble pushing them, but once I start to go up the fuel trailer, it's the nose hitting in the floor that's stopping me. As soon as you try to go higher, it's like the nose is seesawing the front two axles off the floor then, and it's yeah, it loses a lot of its power. I mean, look at it in water though, it ploughs through it like a good one. Like, you can barely tell the difference whether you're in like underwater or just driving along the cliff. Or the runway, I mean. And then it ends up popping back out at some point. I reckon if I had a healthy engine now and I went in from that direction, there's a chance. I don't know though, because it might just stall anyway when it gets too deep. I'm not sure, because it said engine stalled there, but it didn't say engine broken. So anyway, I just wanted to show you quickly. This is like, obviously 2 cargo, towing a 4-slot trailer. I could have had a crane as well, but I couldn't afford it. And winching another trailer. I ain't going to jump this off the cliff. Sorry to disappoint, but I can't afford 10 grand's worth of trailers. Alright then, I will. See, the thing is, I'm left-handed, so I don't have control of my right hand like you guys. It doesn't listen to me. And that was what was in control of the accelerator. Like I say, I'm a lefty. That's why that's why I steer so well. That's why you've never seen me hit a tree before. Because I'm a goddamn professional at steering. Got to this point, I was like, hang on a minute. I should be able to fire her up. Yes! This is my kind of truck. I mean, look at this mess. Some people. Animals. Like I said though, get out of the way trailer. Mr. Lone Wolf Deliverers. I'll arrive every goddamn time, but your cargo isn't my problem. I didn't sign up for that. I just said I'd get there. I mean, look at this. Someone needs to clean this place up. Kites floating around in the water. Drilling equipment all over the beach. But it's motoring along like a good one. It's pulling 2 now empty 4-slot flatbed thingy-majig things. Yeah, and it's fairly deep now. Like, this isn't the lowest sat vehicle, so a lot of vehicles could go that wide in the water and would start drowning. This thing manages to make it out. got a few kites stuck in them mountain trees, boys. I'm like an OCD's worst nightmare. And the funny thing is, I don't have bad OCD, but I do have a bit. And there is a part of it that does eat my soul, but I just haven't got the time. If I could delete the trailers, I would, for neatness, but I have not got time to be pulling 6 bloody kites out of trees and driving them back to the garage. It's just, yeah. Oh yeah, I had to, had to catch and release the old trailers. They're free-range trailers now. The best trailers are free-range trailers, I can assure you of that. Like, as long as they get to run around in the countryside, they haul cargo better. This thing actually got up here. I really didn't think it would with its Bruce chin, but yes, centre Bruce. That's one in there. One on the score for him. Anyway, so in conclusion, get yourself a loaf, obviously. Honestly though, it isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, and yeah, that like black and white striped bumper bit at the bottom, if you could just remove that, it would be great, and it would be even better if you could put raised suspension on as well. But it honestly was actually pretty decent, and as you should have seen from the footage, it wasn't as much of a pain in the arse as I thought it was going to be. The long nose colob was pretty decent, and that still caught its chin on things. That didn't get up the final quarry hill. I like stuff like that, where this thing impressed me quite a bit. It walked up that last quarry hill like it was nothing, which basically tells me this thing's a bit of a like torque machine, because It had heavy cargo, like 2 lots of slabs just like everyone else, and yeah, I think it would have got up there 10 times out of 10 basically. There's a picture of it. It's got a crane on it, which is what gives you a hint that it's probably... It's got a red crane though, obviously in this game it's the yellow crane it gives you because it's Russia. It is, funny enough, Bruce's price is right, so it is priced about right. The Azov Dolphin is just a bargain for some reason. The Dolphin should be more like 120, 30 grand stock. It's good enough to be that, but for whatever reason it's 80 odd. I was just looking around now, but yeah, basically in conclusion, I honestly would consider getting it, especially if you've got a bit of money to spare. It's about 137 grand fully upgraded, so dearer than the Dolphin. I would get the Dolphin over this. However, if you're a bit flush for money and you're a bit further in the game and you want a bloody good crane vehicle, I mean, it got up into the mountains and that, so in a squeeze, I think you could get it just about anywhere on the map. And once it becomes a crane, a heavy crane, it obviously did a hell of a lot better than like the White Western Star. Obviously the Lodestar, even with the small crane, that suffers badly from like, it just hasn't got enough weight to itself to resist the crane. This thing has got plenty of weight to it. That's what I mean. The chassis is nice and weighty. It did punch a couple of trees over. It does seem like that slab of roof is weighted to make it tip and a bit awkward, but because the thing sits so wide, it honestly, like, by the time you're that far over, you would have gone in most things anyway, so I wouldn't really worry about it. I was just more talking about it for, like, weight distribution purposes and where I think the weight is sat. Yeah, so that's it. I'd get it. Like, it's, what, 89 odd grand stock, which isn't ruthless, considering it's a bloody good crane vehicle, and it's still motored its way through a lot of stuff, and pulled that last quarry hill definitely was a plus for it, and the fact that it was able to have a crane, a flatbed or sideboard, and a trailer, and then winch a trailer. Like, yeah, it can do quite a lot of stuff actually, surprisingly a lot. So yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.